Warning, the following communications are not authorized. Please disable your signals and report to your local re-education center immediately. Failure to comply will result in immediate reprimand and capital punishment.
The time and the end is nigh, Eric Butler. Our times are coming to an end. I don't know why. I just feel like saying that. How are you doing, young man?
Amazing. I have not quite as many complaints today as I do, typically. So, not bad.
That's good. You know who else isn't complaining? Probably, maybe he is, Kyle Rittenhouse. He's the topic, the bannable topic, I'm sure. Leonarda Jonie should be joining us soon. We've started 3 minutes early, I think, which, is probably a record for us, but she'll be joining us, I'm sure, soon. A lot of talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. We learned after the fact that Tucker Carlson's been filming with him this whole time. That kind of tells me that he's probably been saving all those defamatory clips that have been said about him over the last year, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are obviously talking about, sue him, Nick Sandman, hold my beer. But I'm also hearing that that may not work, right?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know if technically he I don't know. I'm getting a little echo now.
Yeah, that's just from sharing thing for some reason. Yeah.
The double audio or whatever that now, because he's a public figure, a quote unquote public figure, that some of those libel suits are, I don't know, bro. It's just, I'm seeing like some contrarian points of view saying like, he's not going to be able to sue because he's a public figure. So I don't really know, but I think besides all that, if he's smart, and I don't know, he's still a young kid. He's not even 20 years old, but he can parlay this, I guess, less than fortunate fame into something, whether it's conservative media or a book or whatever it might be. He should, if he plays his cards right, he probably won't have to go back to working at, I don't know, Chick-fil-A or whatever he was doing.
Well, everybody's saying that places like CNN are changing their tune because they don't want to get sued. I guess they were hoping that the might of their conspiracies would get him convicted. But now, like, for example, this is just from a random person. I don't know whose profile this is, but this is obviously backpedaling on CNN's part. I mean, it's good that they're finally shedding some truth, but they only talk about it till after. Let's see what this is.
This jury saw fit. We learned a lot of things in this trial that we should sort of go over, and I was just kind of reviewing some of the things that we learned in the trial that were not necessarily public knowledge before that. One, there has been a lot of talk, especially by politicians, about where Rittenhouse was the night of this shooting, and it turned out he was already in Kenosha, that he had family here, including his father.
I see.
That the gun was here in Kenosha. He did not bring that over state lines.
Oh, okay.
It turned out during this trial that we learned that the gun that he had a hold of, he actually could legally possess, according to the judge and according to the law here, because of the measurements of the gun. Had it been shorter and a short-barreled gun, then it would have been illegal, but because it wasn't, the judge said that needed to be thrown out, and indeed, that charge of a minor in possession of a gun illegally was thrown out in this case. The jury only looking at those who were injured, those who were endangered, and those who were killed the night in August that Rittenhouse ended up shooting people. We also learned that he was working here that night, that he had stayed over that night here. And we saw some video of, for example, Joseph Rosenbaum, the first person that he shot and killed. We saw drone video, high-resolution drone video, that did not come into this case until 5 days into this trial, and that is under contention. There was a mistrial requested because of both what the defense called prosecutorial overreach, and they said they were going to file about this video that appeared very late in the game, the high-resolution version of it. But now none of that matters. They're certainly not going to ask for a mistrial after their client has been acquitted in this case. But we did learn a lot of things from that video because it was very clear what was going on. There was a video of Rosenbaum chasing after Kyle Rittenhouse during this time when he had his gun. And at one point, Rittenhouse levels his gun at Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum continues towards him. And as he gets close to Kyle Rittenhouse fires his gun several times. We learned also in the trial that he was hit 4 times, and obviously this is a AR-style rifle that has the capability of firing very quickly. But we have also learned that in this case, we saw one of the only person who was shot and did not die that night for Kyle Rittenhouse's gun, and we heard from Gage.
AR style rifle. You
It's
can tell people
pathetic.
don't know anything about guns when they say stuff like that. An AR style was it an assault rifle or wasn't it? It does not look like an assault rifle to me. I'd
Well,
have to look up what it was, but go ahead.
hang on. As I understand it, even the term assault rifle is basically made up. I mean, you could
Oh
have
yeah, it's like something you see in video games. Like it's
it's an
just something you.
assault baseball bat. It's a scary term, right? So this is actually pathetic. This is them. Okay, I guess glass half full. They're trying to get a little bit of truth out there, but it's only after they have egg completely all over their face, right? And me personally, I think it should have been a mistrial. Is it mistrial with prejudice or without prejudice? I forget. I'm not a lawyer, but because a mistrial with prejudice, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, would have at least would have also shown the media that we're not going to play these games anymore. So, looking back on it now, it's like anybody with two eyes could see that this was self-defense, and everybody wants to, the left likes to play that he shouldn't have been there game, which obviously makes no sense because the city was on fire. So you could say that for every single person who was there that night, that they shouldn't have been there.
Mm-hmm.
But this, if he would have issued a mistrial with prejudice, I believe, again, I'm not a lawyer, I don't want to misstate that and look like a complete idiot, but the point I'm trying to make is he should have sent a message to the media, MSNBC out there following the jurors, saying that if you guys continue this way, you will be responsible as to why, like, you were going to be the reason why he got off, because we all know that the left wing media doesn't care about the facts anyway. So the Gage Grossman or whatever the guy's name is, who admits that Kyle didn't even point the gun at him until he pointed his weapon at him. That doesn't even matter to the left. But if you want to play by their game, you could say this is a mistrial with prejudice, and you media, you MSNBC, you CNN, you guys trying to film the jurors, all this sort of foul play is not going to fly anymore. But again, I'm whatever, the system works. He got off. The self defense is intact for now. But on a larger scale, this shouldn't have even got this far, obviously.
Well, I just think that if they were to do that, then the media would just be like, well, now they're making an excuse so that they don't have to make him guilty, white privilege and all of that. CNN brings on this person that, I don't recognize. I see a lot of CNN people. They bring in somebody nobody knows to, finally inject some truth into the situation, as if this information just became available now that he's been acquitted. Everybody's known, if you watch the footage at the time, what actually happened. If you watch the trial, you probably know what happened. But the problem with it all is that they're just like you said, they have egg on their face and they don't know what to do now. Nick Sandmann was ready to roll on Hannity that night. Kyle's on Tucker on Monday. They're doing a documentary. I'm thinking that throughout this whole thing, somebody said, make sure you're recording all this. Here's what Nick Sandmann's team did to win, a couple $100 million or however much they ended up with. And this is all going to happen again because they can't help themselves. They can't help themselves but to, try to tear somebody down without having the facts. And you see still newspapers like, I think it was the Telegraph in the UK, right after the trial, they said he shot 3 black men. Like, and then the gun crime stuff they were talking about, where they said for a year that he was in illegal possession of the gun. Nobody bothered to check the law. It's a really sad situation. And you can't take it back. They think that they just have all the clout in the world where it doesn't matter, the old adage where you tweet out a lie and then the retweet of the connection gets 10% of what the correction gets 10% of what the original lie had. It's not going to work that way. It doesn't work that way in real life. It might work in Twitter. You could still sue somebody for saying that on Twitter. They're caused if you could prove it, but it's not going to work out in real life. And speaking of real life, Leonarda Jonie has joined us. Leonarda, how are you?
Oh, what's up?
I'm all right. I'm like, I
Are you in Texas now?
I am in Texas, and this image of me is inverted. It's so hard to get used to the inverted.
Wait, can I just say really briefly? Oh, we're going to Leah.
I think I can mirror her or something.
I'm like mirrored.
But no, it only works online.
Trying to
Never mind.
fix my hair, but it's the wrong way.
It's okay. Can I just Your life really is in reverse.
Though,
Go ahead,
Eric. About this media malfeasance is that I will admit that I didn't even know until like halfway through the trial, and I'm paying attention, that the guys he shot were white. Like I wasn't, because I can't keep up with every single little thing. So imagine being on the left. Imagine being a puppet a tool of the corrupt establishment, and them not even knowing until basically the trial's over that the people that he shot were white. So they it's a
The weirdest
best
thing,
I can
as
put it, is a
Leonarda
mess.
starts her motorcycle in the background, the weirdest thing is the people that they're propping up. I mean, there's the whole George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery thing, but to actually go around and the mayor of New York City, and I'll find this in a second, Bill de Blasio, or on his way out, so maybe this is a good thing, but saying the grave injustice was these two people being killed. Of course, it's bad that people are dead, but you're talking about maybe it's not even that bad that a convicted child rapist is no longer with us, considering he was going around saying the N-word, just got out, and would see, and this is proven and this is recorded, seek out single mothers to then rape their children was his preferred methodology.
Here's the thing. Okay, here's the question nobody asks. You're telling me that a convicted pedophile, a convicted wife beater, and a convicted grand larcenist all get out of jail, and the top of their priority list is they have to fight for social justice?
That's right.
Give me a break.
They were probably paid.
Of course they were paid. They were sprung for that reason. They sprung criminals because they wanted to create disarray. So now people that actually fought back, everyone's like, oh my God, you killed people.
Well, it's like they don't want any resistance to their narrative, to their burning of cities. And by they, I mean the Democrat establishment. Bill de Blasio is as establishment as you can get. He's lock and step with, the swamp people, as you can call them. And they don't want anybody to have any semblance of fighting back against this. Now, the narrative has turned into, this is just proof that, and we'll get to Van Jones in a second, maybe we can play him next, but this is just proof that white vigilantism is allowed to happen, and you could do whatever you want as a white man, even though it was against other white guys in his own neighborhood where he was cleaning things and defending property, and then was chased by pedophiles and lifelong criminals. I've been calling him a career felon as an easy description. And they attack him.
Vigilantism, right? I mean, we were told all last year that we don't need the cops.
That's right. It's a community patrol, right? Kyle was doing the community patrol, and it turns out maybe that's a good commercial for defunding the police, Eric, because Kyle did community patrolling and ended up doing the right thing and defended himself, and then gave himself up immediately to a greater force of police who then came. So I want to echo this point here. Go ahead. I was just going to show Van Jones. So go ahead.
We shouldn't even be shocked that they're saying this is white supremacy, because they were saying Larry Elder and Dave Chappelle were white supremacists.
This is true.
So it has nothing to do with the fact that Kyle's white. Even Kyrie Irving. So what are they saying? Like, what's the real deal? The deal is that they found that this white supremacy thing rings everybody's emotional bells so that their logic goes out the window. And they just use it anytime anybody opposes whatever, globalist agenda they have. They go, oh, no, don't be on that side. That's the white supremacy side. And you're like, okay, but the people talking about it are black. They're like, yeah, but black people can be white supremacists. Just trust us. So you're like, oh, okay, cool. You just want me to shut my brain off because this goes against the agenda. And what we saw in this Kenosha case is this kid coming out and being like, not in my neighborhood, bitches, goes against what they were trying to do.
And
I mean, did you know that he stopped a dumpster fire? Like somebody, they had lit a dumpster full of fire and they were going to throw it into a bunch of people. And he stopped. This is before all the gunfight stuff. He stopped that, which would have definitely hurt people, if not killed them.
And he was cleaning graffiti. And the prosecutor asked him, why did you go towards the fire? He's like, because there was a fire and I wanted to put it out. I couldn't believe, I think the most ridiculous part that I heard in the whole trial was the attempt at saying you play Call of Duty. Isn't the goal in Call of Duty to kill people? And it's like, yes, but that's a video game. So you're trying
He's
this.
Like, I was training for killing pedophiles.
I think the most outrageous part was when this soy latte lawyer was listing off the things that these guys had done, or that Gage Grossman, the one that survived, had done, and tried to downplay it. Like, yeah, he set a dumpster on fire and he swung a
Yeah.
chain at somebody.
Oh my goodness.
And he dropped a couple N-bombs, but
that's it.
yeah, that's
No,
it. It's like
Gage Grosskreutz is
yeah,
the guy who got shot in the arm. I
yeah,
forget the
chicken
name of the
wing.
pedophile guy. Pedophile guy is one who was saying the N-word all over the place.
Okay, so he didn't live to tell the tale. And
right, there you go.
according to the left, though, according to the left, I mean, if a white guy drops the N-bomb, that's almost carte blanche to shoot him anyways, right? Like, I mean,
you tell me, Eric.
Like you pretty much got the green
light. He's not
white,
Eric. Joseph Rosenbaum's not white.
Oh,
because he was fighting on the side of Black lives, so he's black. Like the same way Dave Chappelle, he's not black, he's white. You don't understand. The thing is, here's the problem: you don't actually understand. That's the problem.
Because I heard that the black people were most guilty of white supremacy when they were beating up Asians all over the country, or not all over the country. I'm sorry, I take that back. In New York,
that wasn't black
Francisco,
people.
Basically.
That wasn't black people. What are you talking about? Those were clearly white people. That was white hatred towards Asians. Because there's one group of people that hates Asians more than any other, and it's white people.
Okay. Somebody's going to take you literally, so I got to save you from this.
We're going to be on Media Matters in no time, for sure.
White vigilantism is Van Jones's, I don't know, narrative du jour.
Text here. This idea of white vigilante violence is something that we have to wrestle with, and it may not be
gotta wrestle with it, you guys.
Done in one single court case, but we've got a pattern now where white men feel that they have the right to enforce the law themselves. When you look at Ahmaud Arbery,
he didn't do that.
When you look at this case, when you look at Trayvon Martin.
So let's just pause there. Ahmaud Arbery was a guy who went to go steal his ex-girlfriend's car and possibly their child. She called the police on him, and he brandished a knife and got shot by police.
That was Blake.
Jacob Blake. I'm sorry, all the terrible cases.
You racist.
Which one's Ahmaud Arbery?
Ahmaud Arbery is one where they said he was out for a jog.
The one where he was scoping out places to rob, right?
No, and that's crazy.
Okay, it's when I have that thing on. Sorry. So I'm sorry. I'm getting my shittily portrayed by the media cases up in a.
You just made that word up for sure.
No, I did not.
Shittily?
So that was the one where they said he was just going for a jog and he was chased by white vigilantes. Turned out he had been casing the joint earlier, and he was being sought out by the people who own the property, and him and another guy had actually gone and been snooping around the property, which was a newly being built house, correct?
Yes, that's Ahmaud Arbery. Now that one, if I recall, I think it was on the exact same day as or no, you know what? Remember the Central Park dog double Karen event? Where it's like a white lady, and they both had the same name. They were both named Cooper or Johnson or something. That happened the same day as George Floyd. And for me personally, I'll go ahead and put the tinfoil hat back on and just be like, all of this happened in the same day, and we as a result we burned down the whole country and haven't seen anything like it since. And as far as I know, even the protest, the quote unquote protest that we've seen since Kyle Rittenhouse has gone free, haven't turned into riots yet. I don't think so. Maybe they were just still had the plywood up from last summer. I'm not really sure what happened, but it doesn't seem like things are on fire. Maybe they are. Maybe I missed it. I mean, it's Sunday. I guess these people don't have a job. They could do it tonight. But
well, I'm wondering the National Guard there.
Year, so we don't need that.
Also, I think because it's so blatant to anyone who looks into it, and they don't want to have these riots under Joe Biden because he's doing such a horrible job objectively already. They're probably just like, we don't need more criticism, because people didn't like the riots that happened. They tried to blame them on Trump, but people didn't like not feeling safe in Hollywood, in Chicago outside of the war zone, in Milwaukee, in Minnesota, which is, has its own problems. People didn't like that. And they were able to say that this is under Trump, even though it's so obvious what it is. They don't want to compound what's already been going on, I think, is the problem. Eric, who's this Amber Ruffin. What does she do? Who is she? You sent me the video of her.
Yeah, so I think she's just like a B-list late night host, race baiter, and she turned on the waterworks and just went to town on. I mean, you can't make this up, bro. It's just so blatantly obvious that there's nothing more important to these people than the narrative. It truly is a religion. I know a lot of people talk about, even Rogan was on Timcast and all that stuff, talking about how it's a cult and it's a religion. And when you watch a woman like this, sort of like, especially when you watch it after Van Jones, Mr. Nothing Burger himself, I mean, he knew what was happening. They all know what's happening. And this almost confirms my age-old question of evil or stupid. And they just repeat the lines ad nauseum. They do not care, and it doesn't matter. I could preach to the choir, like we already know, but the tougher task is actually getting through to some people, and there are people that change their minds. I mean, like, you know, there's a couple of, I wish I had sent them to you, but there's like a Twitter thread where the guy's like, well, I learned, basically they say, oh, I didn't know that. So he learned things after watching the case that made it seem not quite as bad as just plain old white supremacy, but they still cling on to that Jussie Smollett, like, well, yeah, it didn't happen this time, but it's a symptom of the larger blah blah blah. And it's like, none of it makes any sense, and hopefully it will continue to wake people up. I don't know. I mean,
well, let's see this crazy woman.
Yeah, but okay.
And then we'll try to get to Leonarda's life in Texas and abroad.
Responsibility to say things that people need to know that aren't being said. It's a cool opportunity that I don't take lightly. There are very big, obvious truths that no one wants to say on TV, but I will. Now, just a few minutes before we started taping the show, Kyle Rittenhouse, the man accused of shooting 3 people during a Black Lives Matter protest, was declared not guilty on all charges. So I can't believe I have to say this.
The Johnson jeers. Slow zoom in. I'll be the producer. Zoom in. Slowly zoom in.
It's not okay for
remember the dead puppies
to grab a rifle, travel across state lines,
doesn't matter,
shoot 3 people, and then
didn't do
walk
that.
Free.
Oh, okay.
It's not okay for the judicial system to be blatantly and obviously stacked against people of color.
Nothing to do with this.
Nobody of color was in
there
trial.
To be an entirely different set of rules for white people. But I don't care about Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't care about that racist judge. And I don't care about how up that jury must be. White people have been getting away with murder since time began. I don't care about that. I care about you. And I can't believe I have to say this, but you matter.
You matter.
You matter.
She
Every
sounds
time
like
one
Justin
of these
Trudeau.
it's easy to feel like
you
Bro,
matter.
That's hilarious. You know what? If you believe that some woman who's getting paid millions of dollars to fucking sell you steeping piles of bullshit cares about you, you deserve what's coming. Like, if you're that much of a moron, this is what they've convinced people. They've convinced people that these like celebrities and newscasters are doing this for your benefit, and that like your own family and friends who you actually have personal relationships with are twisted white supremacists who you can't trust.
Absolutely. And did you hear
they are
the framing though? Like, and he shot 3 people out of Black Lives Matter. It's like she's trying to lead you to believe that the people he shot were black by just in the way she's framing it. And
I don't think this woman knows.
I caught that.
Yeah, and the weird suit, the weird like LGBTQ suit thing that she's wearing, and she did the what's the guy's name? The other black guy from CNN. He's kind of like Black Brian Stelter. He's bald, and he did the like
Don Lemon.
No,
Don Lemon.
No, the like he, dude, Wilburn or Clyburn or
he's so
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
He went viral when Trump said Baltimore was rat infested, and he's like, I'm from Baltimore, and this is.
It's still true.
Of course it's true. And then, of course, all the clips of the ex-mayor who has since been convicted of tax fraud or whatever. said there's the clips of her started resurfacing, her saying, "Oh, it smells like rats in here. It's infested." And it's like, dude, so you cried and called Trump a racist, and well, I'm getting off track here. The point is, it's they talked about how Kyle was fake crying, and I don't. It doesn't even matter to me whether he was fake crying or not, because you see people like this who are clearly faking it. I mean, all the memes of LeBron James faking it when he had a cramp. LeBron James is 6'9", 300 pounds, whatever it is, and then you got like a guy who, like Chris Paul, steps on his toe or something and he falls to the projection is just so palpable with these people. It's absolutely insane. And I don't know what it's going to take for them to stop. I mean, I think the ratings are already in the toilet. They're nervous. They got nervous. Was it Fredo, or was it Stelter, who was like, well, there's people on YouTube, referring to Joe Rogan, of course, referring to Joe Rogan, that they get more views than
Stelter.
us. Yeah. And it's like, there's a reason,
I wonder
bro.
why.
Yeah, there's a reason. And Mark Dice, shout out Mark Dice, because he just a week or so ago put out a little compilation video of people just bashing Brian Stelter, some right to his face, and it's just like, dude, you guys still don't get it. But what is it? What powers that be are they answering to that is more beneficial for them to continue to answer to that entity than say one little bit of truth? Like, how
Twitter.
Yep.
Is it Twitter? Is it Hillary Clinton? Is it Barack Obama? Is it
I
just
hope
a
it's
blob?
Hillary.
Like, what really is it?
It's
that is
Satan.
that much better? Exactly.
Leonardo, do you got a cat or a kid over there?
A little bit of both.
Can we see the cat?
Yeah, Max.
Oh,
My cat's name is Max too.
No, it's not. Are you serious?
It is.
Wow.
Buddy.
You guys got to
Come
be
here,
more
buddy.
original.
There he is. You guys see him.
Yeah.
Hey.
So
Hey. Anyway, my cat's gonna answer any questions. The thing is,
That's
he's
good.
the perfect cat to answer it, because he's mostly black but a little bit of white.
Yeah.
So he's right in the middle.
So
He's got what you
before we
call
move
light
on, I
skin
want to give
privilege.
yeah.
That's what I
Before we
got.
move on, I want to give a shout out to Getter.com for giving us live capabilities. Some people are watching on there, so that's pretty cool. So thanks to the team at Getter.com. Leonardo, you've moved to Texas to go to the Holy Grail of comedy. Is this true? Let us know how it's been going there. What's been going on? Give us the 411.
This is true. I have moved to Texas. It's great. Nobody has ever asked me if I'm vaccinated here, and I'm like,
They should.
it's first of all, they
Unclean.
would not survive. Okay, let's just say this. It's going great, dude. Comedy is really alive over here. There's so much comedy. I do at least. Sometimes I'm doing anywhere from like 2 to 6 shows a week, which is shows, right? And in New York, I was doing like maybe 2 to 6 shows a month. And that was before the pandemic, right?
Yeah, and in New York
during the pandemic, it was.
Did you? So
Go ahead.
you went back to New York to visit a little bit, or I mean, what's because I'm kind of curious about that. Also, just really briefly, I did see your appearance on Kill Tony like last week, just randomly. I was just watching YouTube.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But I'm just out of curiosity, obviously. So now you're in Austin, correct? It's Austin, or
Yeah,
or in the area. Okay, so when you went back to New York, like, I mean, is it? Do you see it getting better? Is it getting worse? Is it just the same? Is the trash getting cleaned up? Like,
so I went in July, and it was sort of right before they started doing all this insanity with your papers. So when I went, it was like the summertime. Everybody was out and happy. Nobody was really wearing masks. Like they were just on the vaccines are out, so it's gonna be fine kind of thing, right? And there was like, I went like during the best time, because it was the end of July, but it had fall weather, but like with everything being super alive. So I was like, oh, my old New York. So I was like, God giving me my 1 week to say goodbye to the New York that I knew. Because as soon as we got here, de Blasio announced that he would be doing vax mandates and stuff. And I was like, yeah, it's all going to be different now. And people who've gone back since have told me like, it's the strangest thing. Like, people really do ask you, Like, I need to see your papers. I'm like, oh, okay. You need to see my health papers so I can order a Big Mac. Cool. This makes sense. This makes a lot of sense, but people have cognitive dissonance and all that stuff. So I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been back. I know it was like, it's different with once you live outside of New York City, you realize like how hard life in New York is, and it's unnecessarily hard. It's hard because there's a ruling elite that needs more and more and more, and so they keep squeezing the people below. And they do subtle things that you like. When you hear about like one or two of these things, you're like, oh, okay, subway fares going up. Okay, we can't drive now, into downtown without having these like surcharges. Okay. And then when they all start to pile up, you go, oh, you're making it like you want people, you don't care that you're making it impossible for people to live there because it doesn't affect you, but you're doing that. You're making it impossible for people to live there. And so because there's so much like up top pressure that is like invisible, but you feel it because everything to do anything in that city is so difficult, that everybody who's sort of like not super wealthy is cranky all the time because they don't really have a lot of freedom to decide their life. But then what you realize is like, oh, but you think that that's the only choice you have. So you're kind of like victimizing yourself, because the reality is like you could do something else, but it's going to be a little bit hard in the beginning and you don't want to face that hardship. So that's what I really got. I was like, yeah, I don't want to be here because one, I don't want to be poor. And two, if I'm wealthy, I'm not going to spend $4,000 a month on a freaking, box apartment because it's so trendy. Like, I'm just not going to do it,
Yeah, I'm just, because I miss it from time to time, but I just think about like, even my time in South Dakota, it just the little things too, like you mentioned, okay, congestion parking or driving, and like the alternative side street cleaning, and just the
Yeah.
little tiny things where I'm like, even when I was in South Dakota, I'm like, wait, can I just park my car here and go right in? Like, is this cool? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like looking for all these signs, and it's like, wait, they just make the tiniest little thing. They make it that much more difficult for whatever reason. But glad you're
Because they want to
enjoying
make your
Texas.
life hard. Where are you now, Eric?
I am
Let me
now.
get my cat out.
I have been in Phoenix, or like a suburb of Phoenix, about 30 minutes west of Phoenix, for about 6 weeks now.
Oh,
so
wow.
far, so
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Sweet.
What do we got
Eric,
next, Andrew?
I think I want to show this in Canada. The people in the
living
Rittenhouse,
in a communist state.
Yeah, the people in the Rittenhouse trial sounded just like the people around here. Wisconsin's pretty much how Canadians sound.
Yeah, don't you know?
Lots of cheese going on. Oh yeah, eh? There's a Rebel News reporter from Saskatchewan, and Saskatchewan is a province that nobody lives in, and she sounds so Canadian. I won't even say her name because I don't want it to be sounding mean, but it's always like, oh, in a boots and stuff like that. LeBron James's son, whose name is Bronny, which is a terrible name. Sorry, Bronny. Playing basketball with a mask on, and they're just the clip that I saw of this, it just doesn't even like mention, it doesn't have like no mention of them wearing masks. Like, it's clearly underneath his chin. So the whole team in white, and I think it's because they're from California, for some reason they have to wear masks, and you see the visiting team, I'd imagine, or the home team maybe, not wearing masks. So I just feel like this isn't a mistake almost. It's just like, you're LeBron's son. You've got a lot of international eyes on you and influence. You better be wearing your mask. I mean, I could be wrong, but
even though it's like below his chin, it's so dumb.
Obviously, he's going to be one of the top players. Mm-hmm. And these have got to be. There's no way he's playing on like a crappy team. He's playing on a team who's probably one of the best in his state, and you got to wear a mask underneath your chin. Like, this guy isn't wearing it. Like, he's got it under his chin. I'll show you this freeze frame too. This guy's got it under his chin. Let's see if we can spot the other players on his team. At the top of the screen there, completely under his chin. Right there. Like, what is the point? This is under his mouth and his nose. These poor kids. These poor kids. This guy's getting arrested for sure. So are these guys. But like, what is going on here? And I can't help but think that, LeBron's just like, oh, make sure you wear your mask. Like, couldn't LeBron James? I'm certain LeBron James could go and be like, my kid's not wearing a mask. Do you want him to play here? He's not wearing a mask. But no,
You
it's
assume he has that much power.
Well,
he's got to
he's
answer
a
to
puppet of
somebody.
China, right?
Yeah, he's got to answer to somebody. And this whole thing about why they even have the mask on it's not like at this point, like we really got to understand it has nothing to do with health. It's the willingness to show compliance. It's that you're showing I bend the knee, I yield to you, I submit to you. That's what they care about. That's why, like, if you go someplace supposed to have a mask on and you got it around your chin, they're like, all right, fine. Why? Because they're like, oh, you've shown yourself to be one of us. But if you don't even have a mask on, then they got to attack you because they're like, who do you think you are? It's like, not an idiot,
Why? Okay, I can understand that they want you to show that they want you to submit, right? That's not new. But when you're in a basketball game, like you're sweating. These guys, like you said, Andrew, these are probably some elite players. These are not your regular guys at the rec center. Like, these are athletes, bro. They appear to be in pretty good health. I mean, he's the son of arguably one of the greatest basketball players ever. He's running around here with a mask around his chin, signaling to you
17
that he complies. And you would think even in the realm of the COVIDians, the cult, even I would think there would still be a point where are NFL players wearing it under a helmet? You know what I mean? It's like these guys are running up and down a 95-foot court. You would think they could say, all right, like in the NBA, like I mentioned last week, I went to a Suns game. Obviously the players aren't wearing it in the NBA. Now, it was kind of sad to see the cheerleaders wearing it. It was also kind of sad that
they
there
don't
was
matter. It's the underclass.
But there was also like 3 men cheerleaders, and I was like, dude,
wow, corny. Eric, how non-progressive of you.
It was very corny. But the point I want to make is why, like, even they must, like, it just, I guess I'm giving them too much credit, because when you're literally running full speed up and down a basketball court, you would think they would give them a little bit of leeway. We saw months ago the videos of these track and field people collapsing at the finish line, wearing the stupid blue mask on their face. Like, remember that was a long time
ago. They don't
ago.
care. They don't care. They love that. They love that. Are you kidding?
Like, it's so
Eric, they love it. They're like, yes, they're sadistic. They're like, do what I tell you until it kills you.
Yeah.
They love the fact that you're going to be as obedient that you will ignore that what they're asking you for is going to kill you. They're like, look at how much power I have. I can make you kill yourself just to oblige to what I'm ordering. That's what we got. These people are sick.
It really is demonic, right? It's satanic. They're trying to, like, quite literally to take your breath away. Like, quite literally, the thing that you do, you could be under the knife having surgery, you could be in a coma, but if you are still breathing, and they are trying to take that away from you, and of course he's not being restricted because he's wearing it under his chin, but he's still letting you know that I am obeying, and it's quite sad.
Exactly. I comply. I bend the knee.
They put out a 10-second clip of the Kyle Rittenhouse interview that we can take a look at. Breaking news here on Unauthorized Opinions.
I tell everybody there what happened. I said I had to do it. I was just attacked. I was dizzy. I was vomiting. I couldn't breathe. I tell everybody there what happened. I said I had to do it. I was just attacked. I was dizzy. I was vomiting.
That's interesting. Tucker just punches him out. I don't know why that would be funny to me, but it would be. But back to Texas and the comedy, Leonarda. I'm glad things are happening that way. I'm glad that you're there this early, because now, like, it's only been a year probably since people started flooding there. That's right. I checked my watch. Now everybody's going to go there, and it's going to end up being as competitive as LA, I'd imagine. But I love Kill Tony. I watch it all the time when I'm answering emails. And I just got to say, William Montgomery is I think he's my favorite comedian of all time now. Like, one of them.
Just he's
no, he's the redheaded guy who screams.
People either love him or hate him.
I don't
they
understand
threw like,
how you could hate him.
raisin bread at him or something like that. Yeah, okay.
When he's just screaming about nothing, that I die laughing, and people at my office can hear me when he's just screaming about nothing. Like the one the other day I watched was, "There will never be a female president." Oh my god! And I don't know. There's something about that show and the guests they just have on it all the time, just the random people, and so. People keep saying, though, that Texas is just going to turn blue in the next 5 to 10 years. Do you see that happening? And then maybe there has to be another exodus? No?
No.
Why do
I think
people say that?
It's through corruption. Because a lot of the people that came here came because they were done being blue. They were like, screw you, I'm done. You know, I could speak. Listen, I talked to a lot of the people who came here. Like, I'm in contact with a lot of the comedians. They are not like, I'm so glad Joe Biden won. They're like, I couldn't deal. Most of them, the majority of them that I've dealt with are like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with blue politics, you know? And I think if there's any kind of like, I think the people that were here in Austin before us are more blue than the people coming in.
Yeah, because that was like the weirdos. That was like the lefty place in Texas. But then the people that moved in,
and don't forget,
like,
I was a lefty before too, you know, and I'm proud to say that I was a lefty during Bush administration. Are you kidding? That like, if you were a Republican during the Bush administration and you stayed Republican during the Bush administration, that's like being a liberal now, because everything that was happening then was so anti-Republican. Like, you're giving corporations like major power. The government's coming in and buying people out. I mean, buying out these major corporations that acted totally irresponsibly, and they're taking all this kind of power that they shouldn't have. So that's the same thing as people who remain like Democrat and liberal now, when everything that's happening is the opposite of all the rights that you fought for. So to me, it's Looney Tunes.
Tower 7?
Like
whatever. Talk about Tower 7.
Unbelievable.
Wait, I have a quick question though. Do you see? I mean, in Austin, I don't know. Like, if you go around to other, I don't really know the lay of the land in Texas, Dallas, San Antonio, whatever, Houston. Do you? Because I know since I've been here in Phoenix, I've actually seen a lot of just like random patriotism. Like, the restaurants you go to will have like Gadsden flags, and I'll see like, you know, anti-Biden
flag.
Oh, the "Don't Tread on Me," the snake. Yeah.
I'm just a simple Canadian.
Yeah, so yeah, you guys need a couple Gadsden flags.
And hockey and igloos and
maple syrup.
You'll see that. You'll see that if you go to the towns like right outside of Austin, and that's any kind of place that like that's.
Well, no, that's what I'm just saying, because that's probably why I see it, is because I'm like, you know, half an hour out of Phoenix, which is like, you know, still a big liberal city. But if you drive 20 to 30 minutes in almost any direction, it just drops off completely, and you're going to see Let's Go Brandon. And I mean, literally just driving down the highway, everybody will have flags, and it's kind of crazy, because as soon as you get out of Phoenix proper, like downtown where the Suns area is, and you see a couple of bums down there, which still pales in comparison to LA or New York. I mean, it's like you see like 2 bums in a 10-block walk, you know, and they're like, one of the guys is like, oh, this is just getting so bad. I'm like, you have no idea, bro. But you leave that downtown area, and it like immediately you see cars parked, and they've got little. It's just funny to see that, like, there does seem to, and I don't know, maybe this was already here before Joe Biden, but maybe it's like a kind of a backlash that everybody wants to just be, you know, it's like, I'm not really sure, but it seems like we are moving a step in the right direction. And unfortunately, I think, this is just me personally, my own theory is that the media, while naturally they are able to trick idiots into believing that you need booster number 17 to go into the grocery store, the majority of people can really see through this, and they're like, dude, this doesn't make any sense. Even like or like, I don't want to even call them lefties, but like default liberals that I knew in New York are like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Like, Bernie voters are like, wait, you want me to still wear the mask? I got this. Like, people are really starting to be like, this doesn't make sense. And I think the media is just trying to cover that up. They're in their last little death throes. That's why they're going crazy with the censorship, is because I think they can see their power just dwindling. I hope.
So how does it work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
go ahead.
I'm super shadow banned. Like, people can't find me unless they spell out my whole name exactly correct. And then even when you go to follow me, it goes, "Are you sure you want to follow her?"
You get that one too?
Yeah, I get that one every single time. And it's like they can't find me. My engagement has gone way down. Every time I get new followers, I lose 2 followers for every new follower that's added. Like,
And I
they're
think you
trying
don't
to
even
make sure.
post like. I feel like I post more
I
extreme stuff
posted
on
all that.
Instagram than you.
Yeah, but I posted
This
a lot of that stuff
podcast has
in my
already been
stories.
demonetized, by the way.
I posted in my stories, and that's where they really are like, because I was trying to post it in my stories to keep my page like professional looking or whatever. But especially with my alcoholic kitchen murder mysteries show, it's got to stay very,
That's a
very
great show.
professional. But
I
think
still think
that's
you're.
why they're.
I'm sorry. The one that
No,
I
go
still
ahead.
think about this, and it still cracks me up when I just think about it. Is the impression of the LA health director? That was it for me. That was old school. Like, it still crosses my mind. Like, I'm like, that was hilarious. But not to take anything away from the kitchen murder mystery. It's just like it'll
No,
pop into
that's
my head
fine.
sometimes, and I'll just start like busting out laughing. Like, that was
You guys are so
absolutely
nice
hilarious.
to not swear on this live stream.
I'm trying.
How many major are there in Austin right now that people like the known comedians are circling through?
So there's Sunset Room. It's a big one. It's where all the big ones are going. Vulcan, that's another big one everybody's going to. Creek in the Cave, that's a big one. And then, so those are the 3 major ones right now. Then you have a couple of like sub ones, right, that happen a lot of the time. So one of them is the Romo Room. That's one that's like it's devoted to comedy, and they do comedy there. And then there's a couple like mini places that people run shows out of, but they're not necessarily devoted to comedy. So like the Green Jay is one of those. It's like in the downtown area. And then Firehouse is one of them, and it's devoted to that, right? So you have, I'd want to say 4 ones that are devoted exclusively to comedy, and then about 3 like entertainment areas that do comedy regularly. And then on top of that, people are running shows out of all kinds of random bars and restaurants, and the way that we did in New York, right? So it's still not like, on level with New York, obviously, or LA, where it's just so many. But that's pretty significant for a place that really wasn't a comedy hub before. Like, it wasn't.
Were you there for, was South by Southwest? Is that in like March or February or something? Were you around for that?
I wasn't there for that, no.
So it'll probably be, I think, because I went one year. It was actually really fun. I mean, many years ago. I think it's in March, so maybe I'll go to Austin this year and see what South by Southwest is. I saw Future there. I'm a big Future fan. Sorry, I digress here.
Oh my God, Eric!
Yeah, Future, Dirty Sound.
You're a big Future fan?
Yeah, you don't like Future?
I mean, it's just all auto-tune. I get his purpose.
No. This is a deep conversation.
I like all the Future. I like all the Future memes.
He does. He has provided us with a lot of good memes, and I will at a later date. I will explain to you why you are wrong about Future. That we'll save that for later.
We'll do that next week, maybe. And we can get Gary Sheffield's opinion on that since he's from the area. But Future just has a new song with Burners, so you'll probably like that one. Burners from your neck of the wood.
I will admit I don't know too much about his new stuff. I'm talking about like 2015 Future. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know.
So Leonarda, enough about Future. Your auto tune. So is it true that Rogan's building a place, and is it going to be huge? Is it going to be like normal size?
He's been working on it. He's been working on it for over a year. He's run into hiccups. He talks about this pretty openly. So yeah, he is building a place. I mean, that's definitive. And he's had, because of him, several like big time people have moved here, like the people behind like Your Mom's House podcast, I think, if I'm not mistaken. There's some big podcasts. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting their names.
The ones that Red Band are part of, they must have moved too as well, right?
Yes, definitely. Death Squad.
Yeah, right. So he's been working on that. What was I going to say? It's kind of interesting now that you've got all this happening, because what I described it or heard it described as, it's like the good part of liberal and the good part of Republican kind of like in the same place. Right. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and that's what I like. I really think we need a balance. Like, we can't get super conservative, right? Because then we'll be back in like 1950s, Leave It to Beaver, which is like so stifling to any kind of creativity, right? And then we can't go full commie where we just start killing people who don't agree with our, new economic plan for the future because it's going to be better for everybody. You have to like really taper both sides in, and you need to have this sort of balance. Like that's one of the things I'm so upset about is like I was really comfortable with the liberals before because they were expansive and creative and anti-authoritarian. That was like my favorite thing. And I feel like they've just completely been usurped. Like their brains have been taken over. And that's such a sad thing because those are really the creatives, and those are the ones that are always pushing us to think about, new ways to solve problems and coming up with new art that we like and enjoy. And now they've been completely taken over and they just produce shit. They're just producing trash. And you're like, well, what are we going to do? We're going to go to the conservatives for art? I mean, they're going to just like paint you a nice looking house with a fence and be like, this is my art. And you're like, all right, cool. So we really are having a dearth of like the stuff that really makes people good. Like you really need a balance. Like you need to taper in your most degenerate impulses because we all have them. Yeah, who doesn't want to take a shit on someone's chest? I mean, it's good times. All right, you gotta rein that in. That's what you need the conservatives for, to go, no toilets now, and you're like, cool, right?
Would you go on InfoWars?
Oh hell yeah, I would go on InfoWars. Are you kidding?
I think you should get
like, Alex Jones, we know you're a clone, so just come out with it.
Dude, Alex
Not
Jones.
A clone. It's the anti-clonal antibodies, the monoclonals, the anti-clonals, the Elven clonals, Patriot clonals, antibodies. They've all got the antibodies. They're available at antibodyclonals.com. No, I think you should try to get on there through the other comedians, Red Band.
Why will he not hit the gym a little bit? He's pumping the supplements. I mean,
dude,
Alex,
I think I'm banned from InfoWars.
Who got banned?
I think I'm banned from InfoWars or blacklisted by InfoWars.
Have you been on it?
He was on your show.
I've had Alex Jones on my show and Owen Troyer on my show, and I tried to get on Alex Jones's show. Like they were setting me up to go on it, and then all of a sudden they just stopped responding to me. And I texted the producer, one of the producers last week. I was like, I want to get Alex Jones on for a Christmas special, and I didn't get a response. I don't understand what I did.
What did you do?
I don't know. Am I too controversial for InfoWars?
Too controversial for Alex Jones. All I'm saying is, when I was watching the Timcast thing last week, when they had like 16 people on there, I was like, dude, Alex, I you gotta hit the gym. You gotta do a little cardio or something. He's not looking good.
There's no time when freedom is on the line.
Do that.
Okay,
dude,
all right.
He's not gonna do that. He likes food, he likes alcohol, and he likes fucking bitches, and none of those things are being threatened by him being fat. No,
but
why would he do it?
But you see here it's just because when you see the old clips of him, like the old clips, whatever, he was on like a History Channel documentary or something, and he just looks like such a young guy, and now I'm like, he's just like sitting there like man spreading with his fat gut between his legs. I'm like, dude, clean it up. You're looking sloppy, bro. No shade. Well, all right, fine. I'm just saying he looked a little bit fatter than I remember. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Wow, rude, Eric.
Yeah.
How old are you again, Eric? 38?
Don't you worry about that.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to bring up the episode I have with him somewhere. Yeah. It was a monumental day for me when I had him on. There it is.
You and the paywall?
No, I'm logged in. It's available on Rumble. Not on YouTube, of course. But we're talking about Bohemian Grove and stuff, and he even gave me his phone number at the end, and now no one responds to me. I'm very sad about that. Eric Butler is from TatumReport.com. We can talk about that for a moment. He's been writing about Biden giving special tax handout to media organizations. You can read that at TatumReport.com. You can also find his book on Barnes & Noble we're promoting today. New York City 2020 Gotham Unglued. We are encouraging him to travel to San Francisco to do a similar book, but it's always fun to play. As we say every week, is it a corpse? Is it garbage? Or is it a pile of somebody's winter tires that are unused? Leonarda Jonie is Leonarda is Funny on Instagram, where she's likely shadow banned. She has kitchen murder mysteries and stuff of that nature. Let's watch one.
Please will be going to the Chinese Instagram because we believe in stop Asian hate.
Let's go, Brandon.
What are you doing? What? Who told you to speak? Child, you're black. Stay there. We're going to China. I know you want to beat up on these poor Chinese. So kitchen.
Wow, the racism never stops at Leonarda's house. Do you have any shows coming up?
I wonder
of?
why I got shadow banned, guys. I don't understand why they don't want people to see that.
Knows. It's hilarious. It almost looks like you're ad-libbing at the same time once things start going off the rails.
I am ad-libbing. That whole thing is made up.
Well,
I never know what I'm going to say before those.
I did. The hat was a nice touch, though, and the I don't know, screwdriver or whatever, orange juice, mimosa type of thing, whatever.
Yeah.
So follow her on there, and then Twitter, I believe, is almost the same thing, right? Leonarda is funny.
Exactly
yes,
the same
correct.
thing. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Eric. Closing remarks. Shout out to Getter again because we're 43,000, 44,000 on YouTube, and more people watch are shown it on Getter because of the shadow ban that I have. Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that lovely? Eric, go ahead.
Well, obviously buy my book, Amazon or Barnes and Noble. But that last article, just really quick, that you brought up about Biden. I mean, these are like the little bit deeper cuts. Obviously, I mean, gas has already gone up 10 cents since Thursday. So those are things that we all know. But this man is literally offering to pay the salaries of fake news organizations that cover for him. It's actually scary stuff. You want to talk about fascism or totalitarianism or whatever the left talks about, these are the things that man is actually doing, and it is very creepy. So don't say I didn't warn you.
I will not. We're hoping to get Gary Sheffield Jr. and Kean Bexty next week. Thanks, Leonarda, for joining us. Check her out in the Austin comedy scene.
You got it.
And hopefully on Kill Tony. I just love that show. And hopefully you become a regular or something on
it's
that.
A great show.
I just got
I don't
introduced
get it
to
with
it,
the
by
guy
the
in the
way.
wheelchair. I don't get the guy in the wheelchair bit. I don't understand that. But I love Hans Kim. And
he's a very funny comedian, that guy. He's extremely creative and extremely talented. He just unfortunately has I forgot what it is. It's a muscular degenerative disease. So I mean, he's actually basically stopped because he can't talk anymore, which is really sad. But he's super talented, super talented guy.
Well, I don't know who you have to punch out to become a regular on that, but please do. Thanks, Eric. TatumReport.com, and of course you can catch my new show on rebelnews.com. There is the book. See you later, everybody. To the millions and millions of viewers each and every week.